Well, GraniteGrok is now here, Saturday, October 15th at Veterans Square, Veterans Park, and we already see that there's some signage out. This one says, Obama loves big banks. And we are here because we see the Occupy Wall Street folks have taken over the, well, not taken over, there seems to be a crowd here. And we'll pan over them in just a minute, but let me read this sign to you. Obama loves big banks. Obama's 2008 campaign contributors. Goldman Sachs, over 1 million. JP Morgan Chase, 800,000. Citigroup, 736,000. Morgan Stanley, 512. Source is opensecrets.org. So when we talk about, I guess, the corporate greed, don't we have to also consider who's taking the money? The politicians. Not just Obama, but any politician. Let's go over and take a look at the crowd. We'll get a little bit closer, but we can also hear that they're using the human microphone technique. Say a couple of words, have the rest of the crowd repeat it. It's all about the collective. We are here at Veterans Park at the site of the Occupy, I guess I would say properly call it Occupy Manchester versus Occupy Wall Street. And I have run into Grok friend Leah. We're going all the way back to the time that President Obama came to the Portsmouth High, and we've stayed in touch sporadically ever since. And I'm kind of surprised to see you here, Leah.
Are you?
I am, just a little bit.
That's too bad. I wish that there were more people like us down here.
Well, let me ask you about that. And as I mentioned just a couple moments ago, on this morning's Grok Talk radio show, we had presidential candidate Buddy Roemer on, who is the only Republican nominee for president that's actually gone and talked to these folks. He was in New York, went there for about 3 hours to Occupy Wall Street, talked to some of those folks, and one thing did come out, and he is a banker, a community banker.
Right.
And he said that there is an unholy alliance between big government and big corporations, and that crony capitalism is something that the Tea Party, for instance, is dead set against because it subverts self-government.
Right.
And obviously one of the things that this movement, the Occupy Wall Street movement, is all against is the same thing, the crony capitalism. But where the Tea Partiers seem to be against the politicians, this group seems to be against the corporations instead. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are that after having spent, you know, the better part of a week now, I've gone to 2 of these assemblies before this one, and I was on the forums and the discussion boards, and I believe that people on the absolute far left, meaning total government, and the people on the absolute far right, and there were some of those anarchists, that government is so corrupted that it cannot be cured, and the only way out now is to refuse to participate in it. And everybody in between there agree on many, many things. You know, we don't agree how the best economic system to make the most people prosperous. That's really our only area of disagreement. And I'm not trying to say that's not important, it is. But when we set that aside, and the communists admit they'll never convince the libertarians, and the libertarians admit they'll never convince the communists, and we talk only about what demands could we make that we would all be able to stand our ground on those demands and say, here I'll fight. And there, I put up a list of 10, and I got no resistance on any of them.
Tell us some of them.
Let's see. That although we don't agree about private property rights, we all agree that you can't have private profit and public losses. The bailouts of the big and the mighty and the well-connected has got to stop.
I think
everybody agrees on that. Let me see. I put up there that it's true that the corporate money has infiltrated the politics in this country to the point where it doesn't matter which side we put in. It continues on unabated. And so my suggestion is not that corporations can't make contributions, but no group contributions of any kind should go to politicians. Only an individual human being, living, breathing person should be able to contribute, and up to the allowable amount. You know, there's a limit as to how much a person can give. No more union money going into politics. No more PAC money going into politics. If you can't get individuals to give you money, you don't belong running. And communists and anarchists and everyone in between agree with that.
Well, what about the idea of people banding together to make their voice heard? In a sense, what you're saying is no.
Right, because we can't do that. Because it's a slippery slope and there's no stopping it. You can't say unions can band together or hairdressers can band together, but big groups of important financial tycoons can't band together. So it's got to all go. And I saw union members on those forums agree with that they'd be willing to agree to that in order to clear the system out and hit the reset button. Nobody likes our civil liberties being taken away day after day after day. Can't move from place to place in this country anymore. I haven't flown since they started frisking you and giving you warrantless searches. And now that's bleeding off. They're doing it in bus stations, and subway terminals, and public meeting places. And the left and the right agree that that has got to be stopped while we still have a chance to stop it. The wars have got to end because it's hemorrhaging not only the blood of our young men and women, but any hope we have of avoiding a Greek-like catastrophe over here. We're actually in worse situation than Greece.
Well, as a Blue Star dad twice over, I'm not too happy that we have now sent our military to Uganda.
Right, how many more? And what happened in Libya? Days, not weeks. No troops were on the ground. How many people have been killed over there that their mothers and fathers have sworn a blood oath of revenge? This has got to stop. And people on the left and the right agree with it. That Congress declares war, not the United Nations, not some president, our Congress. And if they can't get together and decide that we should go to war, we shouldn't be going to war.
What other of your demands did you list out?
I said term limits of 12 years for all federal elected. That would give 2 Senate terms, 6 House terms, or any combination thereof, to never be able to hold a public office at the federal level again. I said in any year that a balanced budget is not signed into law, no sitting member of Congress nor the president is eligible for re-election. That one thing right there would end all our problems as far as debt. Because if their particular future were tied to it, they'd find a way to prioritize and to stop running us into bankruptcy like this. They're only able to do it because we let them. We beg them to. We all want our own little precious goodies, and so they hand them out without regard to the people that come after us. And people on the left and the right all thought that that was a damn fine idea. So I really think that the Tea Party ought to get down here and help drive the discussion, because when I was in Dartmouth, there were a lot of young people there. They're upset, and rightly so. They're $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 in debt when they get out of college now. People in your age generation didn't have that when they came out of school, because the colleges keep raising the rate every year, and there's no way to go unless you go into debt. Of course, you and I know it's the government's fault for subsidizing the loans in the first place, and then they changed the law so that the loans are not dischargeable in bankruptcy. So these people now are slaves for life, and they don't understand. They know something's very wrong, and they're open to understand what it is, but they can't learn if there's no one down here to teach them.
I like if no one is here to teach them. Leah, I want to say thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Touch base a little bit later on.
Okay.
I'm going to talk to a few other people.
I'll see you around, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Bye.
GrokTV.